How are we doing? So today we want to talk a little bit about rehab from injuries and the importance of actually going deep in understanding why the injury happened in the first place. And it's because I've seen quite a few times lately people getting rehab programs. And the rehab programs are obviously based on the injury that they've had. So let's say it's a stress fracture. I spoke to one lad and he's had a stress fracture. He's coming back from it. And he's had a plan from a physio at a high-ranking club in the UK to get him back to playing again, back over the rehab, back over the injury. And the interesting thing, I spoke to the player and said, so have they looked into why the injury happened in the first place? Why they think it might happen? To do with your action, to do with your movement, to do with your motor control, stability, strength profiles, anything like that? And he said no. So in effect, the rehab program he had was just based on supposition. It was based on, okay, well, we've had a stress fracture injury in the back, so we're going to do this work for it. Which, you know, some of the exercises would be fine, but it's not based on that person. If it's not based on the person, it's not going to be optimal, not by a long way. And so a lot of it is guesswork. Spoke a little bit about how S&Cs can be very guilty of just putting an exercise in for a player, not because it helped the player, but because the exercise will do something specific. So like a knee flexion for sprinting, something like that, rather than saying, right, is this right for the player, etc. And it's the same with rehab. We tend to see players get injured and the physio or the sports therapist or whichever practitioner will give them a rehab plan based on the injury instead of based on the person as well. So they might be going to the knee injury and doing lots of knee flexion, to the back injury doing lots of core, but they're not looking around it. So what happens then is, with no doubt, the injury gets cleaned up because, you know, with rest, an injury is going to feel better. We don't know if the whole thing is gone, though. That is the issue. So when they start playing again and all they've been doing is rehab around the area of the pain and the site of the injury, what's going to happen then? A lot of the time, we're going to come back to injury again, because as we know, the biggest number one cause and predictor of an injury is previous injury. And I think it's because of really poor rehab, going into S&C and getting ready to bowl again. And that's such a big area where players are getting let down. And I just couldn't shake it with this player saying to me they've done no investigation into him as an individual at all. They've just given him a plan. There's no check-off points. No, right, you need to do this by this point. In your body, can you do this? Whether it be hip internal rotation, thoracic rotation, calf raises, you know, whatever it might be, glute stability, how long can you hold something? There was nothing. Just right, you've had this injury, so this is what we're going to do. And we've got to be better than that. That's no good. So if you had an injury and the practitioner is doing no investigation on you at all, giving you no checkpoints for you to pass on the way back to playing and back to bowling, then you really need to have a good chat with them, because it's not optimal. And what we're going to chat about in the next video is then the S&C programs of people coming back to play. And once they've passed out from the confines of the physio, sports therapist, chiropractor, whoever it might be, and they're back into the playing, the big mistakes which are made there, which then again lead to the player getting the same injury as before. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully this might have struck a nerve. Any issues or any questions, please don't hesitate to drop me a message and I'll get back to you. So take care, speak soon.